I'm here in the park, sitting down. Really nice day. Can't really complain. Can't really complain. I am using the monitor control app for Sony. If you can see this, I don't know how good I don't know how good that looked, but what is cool. This is a complete tangent. This isn't what the video is about, but I can control everything on this automatic lens, on this autofocus lens. I've got the Sony 18 to 105 G Master on here, and I can actually control the zoom wirelessly. So that's pretty cool. Hello. What I'm here today to talk to you about is the Helios 44-2, because I've had this for about 3 months now. It's kind of changed the game for me, to be honest. This fly on my face. That's great. And holding it seems to make me want to talk about it more because it's really nice to hold. It just looks cool. I'm gonna have B-roll of this, but it just looks really cool. This is one of the coolest lenses I think is out there in terms of looks. It just makes you want to create stuff with it, which I think is half the reason of you buy anything, especially in filmmaking. If you're not excited by it, you're not gonna make stuff with it. So I shoot on the Sony A7 IV, which is pretty easy to get lenses for. And in terms of the Helios, that's the M42 mount system from old 35mm cameras. So it's actually really easy to adapt it. You just find a M42 mount to Sony E mount, and you're good to go. So in terms of that, really easy to adapt it to any camera because it's so versatile, the lens. So I just choose to be on Sony, but I've got a friend who's on Blackmagic and Fuji, and it's just as easy to adapt it to those. So that's like probably one of the sickest things about the lens. It just adapts to anything. So I think the best thing about this lens is the price. I picked mine up for 175 Australian dollars, which is actually on the more expensive end of this, which I'll explain later why. Um, but whether you're a beginner filmmaker or a professional, whatever, the image is incredible out of this lens. So for the price, you may as well just get one because it's compared to cine lenses, even photo lenses. I just got a 24-70 Sigma recently. It cost me just over $1,000, and I use that lens a lot. But honestly, once I got the Helios, I don't want to take it off my camera. It's so much fun to use, and it looks really cool. I think I already said that. It just looks sick. It just makes me want to use it. But anyway, the price is the number one thing. If you want to get into filmmaking, just get a bunch of vintage lenses because they all have really nice characteristics, and you're going to get uh, a more individualistic image than if you're just buying really clean photo lenses. And some of them, it doesn't even require that much work on the back end. They just put out such a nice image. You don't need to go crazy color grading and all that stuff. So, yeah, good price. Good price. This is the way you film a YouTube video, guys. You just come and hang out in the park. It's the way to do it. Look how comfortable I am. I'm so comfortable right now. So, as I mentioned before, my Helios is a bit different to a regular Helios because I bought a Cine modded version. So it's a little bit more expensive, but still really cheap. And all that means is it has gears on the lens. So you can put like a follow focus on it and things like that for when you like cine rig it out, you make like a cinema rig. And it also has an oval cutout where the aperture is. So instead of getting circular bokeh, you get oval bokeh. So it's kind of like an anamorphic fake, an anamorphic, that's what they call it. So yeah, it's a little bit different, a little bit cool. I personally really like how it looks. If you want like a really in-depth review, you should watch Valandis's video on it. Probably said that so bad, but his video is awesome. Because he has a 44M with a cine mod and a more fake mod. Oh, it also has a fishing wire in it, so that's why you get the anamorphic flares because it just has a fishing wire in between the oval cutout, so you get those cool flares. I'm actually not a fan of that too much. I probably would get another one without that. Uh, I think it's a bit overkill sometimes. It is cool sometimes, but yeah. So the whole reason I want to get this lens is because it kind of changed the game for me for filmmaking. You know, it made it a lot more fun, especially coming from a lot of autofocus lenses. So this lens has a really nice smooth focus ring, because it is a manual focus lens because it's a vintage lens. But it's one of those things, once you get used to it, it's really fun. So, you know, I just turn my focus peaking on and play around. Um, but I think it's one of those things that when you start getting into proper filmmaking, you do move away from a lot of the autofocus features that uh, photo lenses have. And it all kind of comes down to the simple composing a frame, kind of like film photography, putting in your settings, composing, and just taking your time with it. And that's what I like with this lens. You know, I set my shutter, um, you know, set my exposure with my ND, blah, 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 and, you know, set my focus. And I really take the time to craft my image. And because this lens is so beautiful, it comes out really nice. But that's what I like about this lens. I just take my time and actually craft an image rather than just pointing and shooting with an autofocus lens, you know, and you don't get that focus hunting or anything like that. It's yeah, it's a lot more thought out when using this lens. Not that you can't run and gun with it. I have it on my Sony A7 IV, um, and just run around with it just for fun, and it's awesome. I actually shot a wedding with this lens, and I was manual focusing the whole time, and because of the way it works, such a smooth focus ring, it was no worries. Like I was enjoying it so much on f2 as well. Yeah, and because this lens makes you think about your composition and things like that, because it's 58 millimeters, I think it's 58 millimeters. I'll put something on screen if it's not, but on a full frame camera, I'm pretty sure it's 58 millimeters. Basically, what it does, because you lock to that 58 millimeters, it makes you think about your composition. You know, you walk around and you kind of put the camera down on the tripod, and you kind of really think about what you're framing up rather than zooming in and out. So I like that too. That's why I want more vintage lenses of different focal lengths. We'll get a set of primes, I guess, but it's like cine primes. But you know, vintage lenses cheaper and a lot of fun. And then I wouldn't be talking about this lens without talking about the bokeh. So this lens does have that crazy oval bokeh, um, which is because of the anamorphic mod. But even without the anamorphic mod, it does have that swirly bokeh. So it's kind of really sharp in the middle, and then not as much on the outskirts. So it really highlights your subject in the middle, and it looks really nice. So you can get some really filmic, cinematic looking images with this lens with pretty minimal effort. And then if you throw in like, you know, proper lighting, or, you know, bring some reflectors out or something, it's gonna really pop. You can really make something special with this lens. You know, you can stand out a bit more, even though it seems like everyone has this lens. You know, I don't see a lot of people in the social media space maybe using it for their content. So yeah, you can really stand out because of the specific characteristics of this lens. And just back on that, this lens is great, especially if you're pairing it with a lot of film emulation in your color grading process. So I use this lens so much because it already has that film look. And then if you pair it with, say, a Cineprint 16 power grade in DaVinci Resolve or a Cineprint 35, it's so sick. Like it's, you know, it's super quick to do as well, and just looks so nice. Another thing with this lens is it's a really versatile lens. So you can use it for pretty simple stuff, like social media stuff, which I have like just shot reels with it, things like that, because it just looks really cool. It's eye catching, but you can use it for professional work. So I've shot spec ads on this. As I was saying, I shot a wedding. Um, so it is quite versatile. I particularly like using it in nature and for fashion stuff. So I've shot a lot of nature stuff with this. I did a ASICS spec uh, commercial with it, and also like a little JBL one. But yeah, it's just a very versatile lens. You can kind of use it for everything. Even if it's like a B angle, you know, you have your clean angle and then you have the vintage swirly angle. It can be nice. Or the other way around, you use this as like the A lens, you know, the main angle, and then use a cleaner lens. So it's really good to pair with other lenses, which I like. Um, Especially in my work, I like to use multiple lenses when I'm shooting. So sometimes I'll use like a fisheye and then the Helios, then something a bit cleaner like my 24 to 70. I think it just adds a bit of flair when you're watching a video, different visual styles. So yeah. Anyway, this is really nice, just hanging out in a park, talking about the Helios. If you have any questions about it, leave them in the comments. Not that I know everything, but I'll answer to the best of my ability. Um, yeah, so it's just a rant about the Helios. My first few months with it, I've really enjoyed it. Gonna keep enjoying it. More videos to come. I think that's kind of all I've got to say. But it's a nice day in Melbourne. I'm going to go create some more things, I think. So have fun shooting out there and get yourself a Helios. You won't regret it. And I might go get myself some more vintage lenses. So, all right. Bye.